Have you heard the one about the 90-year-old who went to space? It's not a punchline to a joke. It is real life news. On October 13th, William Shatner became the oldest person ever to fly into space. It's particularly fitting because William Shatner famously intoned the words, "Space, the final frontier," as the opening to every single Star Trek episode since 1966. For Star Trek fans, it was sweetly sentimental. As one fan breathlessly reported, "This is a pinch me moment for all of us to see Captain James Tiberius Kirk go to space." Except it wasn't Captain Kirk who went to space on October 13th. It was William Shatner, who had played the role with high camp until he lived it with surprising wisdom. Jimmy Fallon chuckled at the moment when the Blue Origin touched down in the desert, again back on Earth, and there was Jeff Bezos rushing in with celebratory champagne, and his 90-year-old guest wasn't having any of it. Completely serious, as he waxed elegantly and eloquently, as our own beloved 90-year-old Hannah Berkowitz is known to do, about the meaning and the profound purpose of being someone in whose lifetime you see the impossible become possible. I've been thinking a lot about William Shatner, because for all of the drama around space tourism, both for and against, for all of the harangues and the humor about jaunting up into space on an outrageously expensive private 10-minute tour at a time like this, for William Shatner, it was a profound, emotional journey. "I do not know what I may appear to the world," he said upon his return, "but to myself I seem only like a boy playing on the seashore, diverting myself in now and then, finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst in the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me." Pretty wise words for Captain Kirk. But this wasn't, because the truth was that he found in space something profound. And what he found in space was surprising. The covering of blue he shared is this sheet, this blanket, this comforter that we have all around us. We think, oh, that's blue sky. And then you shoot through it, and all of a sudden you whip off the sheet like you're asleep, and you're looking into the blackness, into black ugliness. Unlike his fictional character, when William Shatner boarded a spaceship, he found himself filled not with a thirst for adventure at the expanse of space, but with a profound appreciation for the preciousness of our planet and the precariousness of our own lives right here. From our point of view, he said, space is filled with mystery, but it is actually blackness and death. As we look down, the earth is life and nurturing. This week, in the shadow of the climate summit, his words echo. We so often think that there's something better out there, As scientists imagine ways to offload our pollution into space, just solve it like that. As science fiction fans imagine worlds to colonize in a Wall-E-esque escape for future generations, we, as individuals, imagine breaking the bonds that have grown binding in the forced intimacy of the pandemic. We imagine that we can leave all the stuff behind. A year and a half into the pandemic, we are restless from our increasingly tired homes. We're looking for more. And so who wouldn't get excited about William Shatner embodying Captain Kirk on an epic flight whose entire premise is more? It turns out, William Shatner. His returning words remind us of the power of investing ourselves right here, right now. As is unfailingly the case, this week's Parsha is the address for this teaching. Indeed, Isaac is the patriarch of this Torah. Do not go down to Egypt, God says to him. Don't seek greener grass over there. Don't seek to leave behind your troubles. Instead, make what you have now flourish. Isaac famously is the only patriarch who doesn't need to leave where he is to become who he must be. He doubles down on his love for his wife. For better or for worse, he doubles down on his complicated children, stretching to find a blessing for them both. He doubles down on the land and the people of Israel. He doubles down on home. If you're feeling anxious, at too much time stuck in one place, if you're feeling boxed in, this is the Torah for you. Lean in to your internal Isaac. Lean into what more you can do right here, right now, to make where you are better. Lean in to listen to those you love who are calling for your attention right now. Lean in to notice what is broken and lift your hands towards repair. Lean in to amplify whatever blessings you possibly have in this moment because you need them, and you need them to be amplified. Lean in to make right here, right now, the moment that you inhabit fully for joy. Can't count on the other moments, but this one, right here, this one you've got. That is Isaac's Torah. And yet, we must also notice that Isaac is the only patriarch who fulfills his story where he is. Abraham and Jacob need to boldly go where no one has gone before. And in some ways, so did William Shatner. At one point, the punchline of every B-actor joke, struggling to outrun the typecasting of his signature role, his life has been far from a straight line. Back in August, William Shatner released a song with Brad Paisley called "So Far from the Moon." He captures, with painful honesty, where he was 52 years ago as he watched on his television as the first astronauts landed on the moon. He says, "I was doing dinner theater somewhere I don't recall, sleeping in my pickup, feeling like I had hit a low. My marriage had been canceled, and so had my show. The Apollo mission took off, But man's greatest achievement made this man feel so small. We don't always get where we want to be when we want to get there. And that disconnect can derail us or it can deepen us. For all of his fame and fortune, for all his humor, what hit Shatner when he actually got to experience space was this. Not Captain Kirk's bravado, but an exquisite awareness of his own mortality, of his own long life, of the moments when he wasn't where he wanted to be, but that wasn't the end of his story. And in those moments, he found a clarifying call. The whole fact of going into space, he said, your life is in front of you, and all of a sudden you look and you say, wait a minute, what's important here? That's the question before each and every one of us, today and every day. What's important right here? What's so particularly powerful about that question is that there's not just one right answer. There's not even just one right answer for each of us in any particular time. One answer may flow into another, into another, into another. We need more Isaac. We need more appreciation of that idea that we can invest in our home, in our community, in working through connection, even when or especially when it is hard. And we need more Abraham, more readiness to risk for greater calls. And of course, we are all at various times Abraham, and at others, Isaac. At times, Kirk, and at times, Shatner. The best moments are those when we realize that Isaac can embody Abraham, and Shatner, through all that acting, can someday realize Kirk. As he croons in So Far From the Moon, well, I rode a plastic spaceship, a flashlight laser beam, but some piece of that fiction helped push along the dream. If you are still dreaming, William Shatner's space ride reminds us it is never too late. And if you are stuck and straining, his reflective return reminds us that our world now is bigger and more beautiful and more in need of our healing hands that we can imagine right where we are. What is most important? Well, that is up to you. Shabbat Shalom.